One protocol in all of crypto is turning proof-of-work mining into a coordinated race to find the best algorithms in the world. Founded by a Cambridge-trained mathematician with 30-plus patents in cryptography, and right now the entire thing is priced at about $28 million. This is TIG, the innovation game. A few of my best buys before I ever posted publicly: Bitcoin at 400, Ethereum at 16, Chainlink at 30 cents, and some of my most recent calls on the channel: TOW at $8, Caspa at 1 cent, Tibber at 2 cents, among others. So when I pull a project apart in detail, you know where I'm coming from. And the credibility profile underneath this one is one of the strongest I have ever walked through on a project at this market cap. So let's get into it. Real quick, the next research grade primitive that quietly resets how this industry works is already in my pipeline. Subscribe if you want it before everyone else catches on. One deep dive like this drops every week. So what is TIG actually? In one sentence, TIG turns proof-of-work mining into a competitive market for solving real-world algorithmic problems. Bitcoin's proof-of-work burns electricity on hash puzzles. The compute has zero reusable value once it's done. TIG's proof-of-work is the compute. Real Boolean satisfiability solves. Real vehicle routing for logistics fleets. Real scheduling solutions. Real neural network training primitives. The work itself is the search for the best algorithm. Two roles run the network. Innovators submit new algorithms they think can beat the current state of the art. Benchmarkers run those algorithms against challenge instances, gather proofs, and submit them on-chain. The protocol verifies, ranks, and pays out. The whole thing rests on one structural primitive, asymmetric problems. Easy to verify a solution. Hard to compute one, the same property that makes Bitcoin mining work, except here, the byproduct is a faster algorithm that someone somewhere in industry or research can actually use. That is TIG in one sentence. Now zoom out. Why does this even matter? Most of the algorithms that run the modern world are open research, the fastest known SAT solver, the best vehicle routing heuristic, the leading neural net training primitive. They live in academic papers, in corporate R&D vaults, in DARPA challenge archives, in Kaggle competition winners. The discovery rate is gated by who has tenure, who has funding, who has the patience to publish. Crypto has done this before. Bitcoin gave anyone with a GPU a way to earn money for doing useful cryptographic work. TIG's bet is that the same coordination primitive can apply to algorithm discovery itself. If you find a faster vehicle routing solver, the protocol pays you. If you build a better scheduling heuristic, the protocol pays you. Researchers stop competing for grants and citations. They start competing on a leaderboard with on-chain rewards. The thesis isn't that crypto fixes everything in academic research. The thesis is that you can route real money to the people writing the code that everyone else's industry depends on. Now, here's the credibility piece. Most crypto projects bury the team behind a tweet thread and a headshot row. TIG's team page reads like an academic department. The founder, Dr. John Fletcher, Cambridge. PhD in applied mathematics and theoretical physics, researcher in distributed incentive frameworks since 2016, full-time before TIG even existed. 30-plus patents in cryptography and distributed systems. The legal and governance lead, Phil, former director and general counsel at RM Limited, the chip designer firm 2003 through 2018. So 15 years inside the company that designed the processors in pretty much every phone in the world. The wider research bench, 6 active researchers from Cambridge, Oxford, and Imperial College London. Not a vanity advisor list, stated as active researchers on the project. The white paper authors are John Fletcher, Ying Chen, and Philip David. Independent verification, Plaintext Capital wrote the team profile. Delphi Digital, the most respected research desk in crypto, has published members' research coverage on TIG. So you have a Cambridge mathematician, a former ARM general counsel, a research bench from 3 of the top universities in the UK, and Delphi grade coverage. On a $28 million market cap, tell me where else in crypto you find that. Okay, the mechanics. Stay with me because this is where the design either holds up or it doesn't. Benchmarkers post a bond, pick an algorithm from the Innovator pool, run actual compute against challenge instances, gather proofs, and submit on-chain. Same flow as a Bitcoin miner submitting a valid block, except instead of a hash, they're submitting a verified solution to a real problem. Innovators upload algorithms. Open source, auditable. If their algorithm gets adopted by benchmarkers because it produces solutions faster than the prior best, they earn a share of every block reward generated by that adoption. block reward split. Roughly 50% to benchmarkers, performance proportional to solutions found, 15% to innovators whose algorithms got adopted, remainder across delegators, treasury, and governance. There's a delegation primitive too. Benchmarkers can share 0 to 25% of their rewards with delegators, which gives someone who doesn't want to run GPU farms a way to participate in the upside without operating the hardware. The active challenge set right now: Boolean satisfiability. Vehicle routing, scheduling, neural network training primitives. More challenge classes are planned over the next 3 to 5 years per TIG Foundation. Each one is a separate marketplace. Here's where TIG fits in the broader useful proof of work landscape. 3 projects share the headline category. 3 completely different bets: Qubic, useful work IS neural network training, the protocol mines by training AI models. 1 specific class of compute, single primitive, Nockchain, useful work IS zero knowledge proof generation, the protocol mines by producing proofs that secure other systems. Also 1 specific class, also single primitive, TIG. Useful work is open algorithmic optimization across multiple challenge classes in parallel. Multi-primitive, the architecture is built so the protocol can host new challenge classes without hard forking. So if you believe the next decade is dominated by AI training, Qubic is the focused bet. If you believe the bottleneck is verifiable computation everywhere, Nockchain is the focused bet. TIG is the bet that says none of us actually know which optimization problems will compound to the most economic value. So build a marketplace that pays out for whichever ones turn out to matter different shapes. All 3 can be right. Now, the thesis that makes the upside real. If TIG works, if innovators keep showing up with better algorithms, and benchmarkers keep verifying them, the protocol generates a steady stream of state-of-the-art open-source algorithmic primitives. Faster Boolean satisfiability solvers, better vehicle routing heuristics, faster neural net training primitives, companies that already spend serious money on these problems. Google, Microsoft, OpenAI logistics firms, chip design firms, cloud providers. They could in principle license TIG-discovered algorithms. The economic case is clean. A 1% improvement on a cloud-scale routing solver compounds to billions in saved infrastructure cost. A faster training primitive pays for itself across a single Fortune 500 model. To be very clear, TIG has not announced a signed customer. There is no public press release. The licensing thesis is a thesis, not a contract. The protocol is in the position to attract that kind of demand. Whether it does is the open question. Hold that thought. Now let me argue against myself, because there is a real skeptic case, and I want to be fair to it. 1. TIG is a niche thesis. It lands hardest for people who already think about algorithms. For everyone else, the protocol has to translate the idea before the upside makes sense. That's a marketing surface area problem, even if the underlying technology is right. 2. Benchmarker hardware is going to centralize. Compute-heavy proof of work always favors operators with serious GPU and CPU capacity. Small holders' practical exposure is via delegation, which means the network's decentralization claim depends on benchmarker diversity holding up over time. 3. Challenge curation risk. The protocol depends on picking challenge classes that are verifiable, commercially relevant, and have actual room for algorithmic improvement. If the active challenge set goes stale, innovator rewards stop flowing and the economy calcifies. And 4. The market cap is 28 million. Thin liquidity, a single decent-sized market maker move can whipsaw the price. Scope your thesis accordingly. Here are the numbers today. TIG trades right around $1. Market cap, roughly 28 million. Fully diluted, around 48.5 million. So market cap is a bit under 60% of fully diluted. About 28 million tokens are circulating out of a 131 million max supply. All-time high, $4.30 on December 2nd, 2024. Currently down around 76% from that peak. All-time low, 11.5 cents in May 2025. So the token has recovered roughly 9 times off the bottom. Daily volume around $7 million. Top trading pair, TIG against USDC on Aerodrome Slipstream on base. Real on-chain liquidity? Honest question. If a public licensing customer lands this year, does TIG hold a $100 million market cap or push past it? Drop your number in the comments. I read the top replies. Here's my take. TIG has the most credentialed founding team I have ever pulled apart on a project at this market cap. A Cambridge mathematician with 30 plus patents, an ex-ARM general counsel, A research bench from 3 of the top universities in the UK, Delphi Digital coverage, and a market cap priced like none of that exists. That gap between credentialed research grade team and $28 million of priced-in expectation is what makes this worth covering. The catalyst that closes it is what the next scene is about. Before I close, let me tell you what to watch and what to ignore. Ignore the all-time high price chart. TIG's chart is 1 ATH away from looking like a setup and 100 narrative cycles away from confirming. Ignore X posts hyping every new GitHub commit as the breakout signal. Watch the things that move the thesis. New active challenge classes coming online. Innovator algorithm submissions per week. Benchmarker network participation. Any direct on-the-record statement from a public company about TIG discovered algorithm licensing. And most importantly, this is not financial advice. TIG is a small cap research infrastructure bet. Do your own research. If you can't hold a position that could realistically go to zero, do not take this position. Here are the catalysts that would force a repricing. 1. The first publicly announced algorithm licensing customer, Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, DeepMind. Any major, this is the binary. The licensing thesis goes from open question to confirmed pattern. 2. A TIG-derived algorithm published as new state-of-the-art on a recognized public benchmark. SAT competition. Vehicle routing benchmark. A neural net training improvement, the protocol stops being interesting potential and becomes demonstrably produces winners. 3. A new high-impact challenge category added, especially anything biomedical or climate compute related. Both were flagged in the project's plain English description as in-scope workloads. New challenge categories are new addressable markets. 4. A major centralized exchange listing or institutional research coverage beyond Delphi Digital. Liquidity finds the project. Institutions start pricing it differently. Any one of these 4, and TIG goes from quiet academic bet to a main stage, useful proof of work conversation. So I'm not putting a stake on price, I'm putting a stake on credibility. This is a project that warrants serious research grade coverage at this market cap. If you trade this kind of rotation, here's my stack. I use Blofin for perps, link below. Cold storage on a ledger after my own MetaMask hack a few years ago, story in the description. TradingView for charts, Coin Tracker for taxes. All 4 are in the description. None of them cost you extra. So to recap, a useful proof of work protocol where the work is the algorithm search itself. A founder out of Cambridge with 30 plus patents. A research bench from Cambridge, Oxford, and Imperial. Delphi Digital coverage, a live 2-sided market for innovators and benchmarkers. And a market cap that prices none of it. That is TIG. If this research was useful, hit subscribe and follow me on X at CryptoSGiants for real-time updates. Real-time research drops on X first. And again, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. See you in the next one.